Hey, are you thinking about homeschooling? We've got 10 things you need to think about before you start. Coming up next. Hey, welcome back to our channel, Molding Our Monkeys, where we are sharing a little bit of our journey homeschooling and hopefully answering some of your questions when it comes to what does it look like for you to homeschool in your family as well. If you are thinking about homeschooling, we've got a list of 10 things that you need to be thinking about considering before you start homeschooling. And the first thing that we're going to put on that list is the laws. What are the laws in your area? We're here in the United States, we're here in Iowa. And our laws are fairly relaxed here in Iowa, but they're different in Minnesota, they're different in Missouri, they're different in all our surrounding states even. So if you're thinking about homeschooling, you need to look at what are the laws in your state, what are the laws in your area, and they're going to be constantly changing as well, so just kind of keep up to date on what that looks like.
The second thing to think about is your kids' learning styles. How do they learn best? Do they learn best by going for a walk? Do they learn best by reading a book? How do they learn best? And also your teaching style. How do you want to teach? Do you want to teach in a more traditional setting? Do you want to teach outside? You know, you're going to be more relaxed, you're going to be more strict. What's your teaching style?
A lot of this list, we're going to be coming out with some follow-up videos going more in depth on a lot of these different things that we're talking about. But number 3 is that you and your spouse need to be on the same page. You need to talk to your spouse. You know, if you've been kind of researching this on your own and thinking, hey, I need to do this, you need to bring your spouse into that journey with you, because you guys need to have the same goals, the same ideas. If you're going to do this, it's going to work way better. It's not going to work if it's just you on your own, just trying to make this happen, and you don't have the support of your spouse. So just keep that in mind.
The fourth thing to think about is curriculum. And it goes back to why you're homeschooling. It goes back to your kids' learning style, your teaching style. There's a lot of information out there on homeschooling curriculums. And it might take some trial and error to find what's going to work best for your family.
Number 5, you need to take a look at and answer the question, what is your schedule going to look like, and what is your routine going to look like? Is your schedule, are you going to follow the school system in your school year, or are you going to try to teach year-round and just take a week off here and there and have a more non-stop school, or are you going to do kind of take the summers off like the school does? That's a question you're going to have to answer for yourself. But you also are going to have to take a look at what's your routine going to look like. What time are you going to start? What time are you going to be done by? It's not that you have to have the same schedule every single day, but it is good and it helps your kids learn. It helps your sanity if you've got a routine where there's an expectation of we're going to do this and then this and then this, and that's how it's going to be kind of laid out. So think about what that's going to look like for you.
Also think about the details of where are you going to school. Are you going to school at the kitchen table? Do you want to school mostly on the couch and on the living room floor? Do you want to have your own separate school room in your house? And what organization do you need so that you're not running around spending most of your day finding supplies, that you can really focus on the kids and the curriculum? And again, save your sanity with knowing where everything is when you need it.
Yep. Number 7 is you need to talk to your family. So not only does your spouse need to be on the same page as you, grandparents need to know what's going on. You need to have a conversation with them. Maybe you have a family where homeschooling is pretty understood, pretty accepted. You still need to let them know. Maybe you have a family that they don't know anything about homeschooling. You need to bring them in on the journey. They don't have to be the teachers, but they do need to understand what you're doing. And the more you help them understand what you're doing, the more comfortable they're going to be with it. And the more they see the progress your kids are making, the better they're going to be able to accept and encourage you in that. So talk to your family, talk to the kids' grandparents, and let them be part of that journey. Maybe if one of them doesn't work, they can come watch a day of school or something. Yeah. But don't just go through this and not tell anybody this is what you're doing. Communicate that to your family.
Yep. The 8th thing to think about is how are you going to make connections with other homeschoolers? Can you reach out to families in the area who are already homeschooling? Do you want to start or join a co-op? One of our biggest resources is our public library. We spend a lot of time down there. They help us get books that we need for our school. And they can also connect you to other families that are homeschooling potentially.
Facebook is another great
Facebook
option.
is a good option. Yeah. How are you going to make those connections that you're going to need to support you on your journey?
Yep. And number 9 is probably the one that gets maybe asked the most. I know that growing up, being a homeschooled kid, this was asked a lot, and that is socialization. And honestly, this is probably the easiest one on this list, or pretty close to the easiest one on this list. It's the one that's asked the most, but as far as I'm concerned, it's kind of a non-issue. But you need to make some plans of how are you going to socialize your kids? How are you going to get them out there so that they're not just in your house all the time? They need to get out and talk to people, interact with the society, with other kids. It's pretty simple. You just have to make a plan for it. Are you going to sign them up for sports at the Y? Are you going to get them involved in, like Stephanie said, the library, story times? Our library has some cool stuff for some of the older kids too, like a STEM program that they do where this summer our kids were programming robots last summer, and they had a blast with it. So you need to look into what are some of those things where you can get your kids out. Maybe it's church activities, maybe it's Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. What are those things going to look like where you get your kids out of the house and get them socialized?
The last thing to think about is how are you going to keep your homeschool routine fresh? We've got math game Monday, we've got school at the park, we've got just little things that kind of keep the kids guessing maybe a little bit and keep a little bit of excitement in what could be a mundane routine.
Yeah. So this is just a quick list of 10 things. There's a whole bunch of other things that you could or should be thinking about. So if you've got some ideas of some stuff that people should think about, if you're a homeschooling family and you're watching this, we would love to hear your additions to this list. If you've got something else that maybe we didn't answer and you got a question about it, throw that in the comments. We would love it if you would subscribe and stick around for more of our videos where we talk about molding our monkeys.